Ladies and gentlemen, the verdict has come out, and Aaron Dean has been found guilty of manslaughter for the shooting death of Atatiana Jefferson at her home. So the verdict just came out minutes ago. So a former Fort Worth, Texas police officer was found guilty of manslaughter Thursday in a 2019 shooting of 28-year-old Tatiana Jefferson in her home. Dean, who is white, faces up to 20 years in prison for the conviction. I do not believe they're going to give him 20 years, y'all. I'll be shocked if they did. He pled not guilty to murder, a charge which carries a possible sentence of 5 to 99 years. Jurors were instructed Wednesday to also consider the lesser included offense of manslaughter. Dean, in a gray suit, showed no emotion as the verdict was read. Members of Jefferson's family were expressionless in the courtroom as the judge announced the verdict. CNN affiliate WFAA TV reported there were no immediate comments from the family members. Defense attorneys had said Dean fired in self defense, but prosecutors argued there was no evidence that he saw a gun in the black woman's hand before firing through a bedroom window. And I find it hard to believe that he would have seen a gun and there were no lights on in the room that he shot into. There's no way he saw any gun. I don't believe that. Jefferson's 11-year-old nephew, who was with her at the time, and Dean's police partner, who responded with him to what they believe was a burglary. And I don't understand how he believed it was a burglary. And the call came on a non emergency phone line to the police department. The neighbor called the non emergency line. So I don't know how he ran up there believing it was a burglary. That doesn't make any sense. Non-emergency, yeah, it's a welfare call. You're just checking on that neighbor to make sure they're okay. The neighbor did not say they thought the place was being burglarized. They just want someone to go and check on them to make sure they're okay. So he concluded a burglary and got all that mess up in his head trying to act like Superman when he arrived on the scene. So we know her nephew was really the only primary witness because at the time, Tatiana Jefferson's mother was hospitalized. So it was just her and her nephew, Zion Carr, that were in the house together. So Dean took the stand and said he fired at Jefferson because she pointed a gun at him. And they concluded there was no way he would have seen anything in her hand because it was dark in the room. The verdict comes more than 3 years after Dean and his partner responded to Jefferson's house at around 2:25 a.m. on October 12th, 2019, in response to a neighbor calling a non-emergency police line to report that her doors were open. The jury got the case Wednesday afternoon after a closing argument in which the state portrayed Dean as a power hungry former cop whose preconceived notions about the neighborhood where Jefferson lived stained his conduct the night of the shooting. Okay, well, he really acted as a complete idiot. And it just goes to show you he probably had a lot of misconduct that the Fort Worth Police Department just overlooked. Because, when you listen to how he explained that early morning hour went, it was just, there's no other way for you to see it but just horrible police work. And that's probably how he functioned the entire time he was on the police force for Dallas Fort Worth. So the defense counter, Dean fired his weapon in self defense while fearing for his life. Yeah, it's amazing how cops only fear for their lives when they're dealing with black people. When it's anybody else, I don't hear y'all saying that line. I'm just saying. And what attorneys say was a tragic accident, but not a criminal act. Dean resigned days afterwards and was arrested and charged in the killing of Jefferson. And ladies and gentlemen, they delayed this trial so long. And I remember seeing the delays in the media, and I just feel that the only reason why they delayed it because he had to come up with the alibi. The one that he had was not sufficient enough. So they pushed this thing along until they felt he had an alibi that the jury would buy. And it was really not delayed for any other reason. That's just my opinion. If you can't feel safe in your own home, where can you feel safe? So this is what the prosecutor, Ashley Diener, this is what she said during the closing arguments on Wednesday. When you think about your house, you think about safety. It's where you go to retreat, to get away from the world. Dean, the prosecutor said, had a tremendous amount of power when he put on his uniform. And when you put on that badge and you put on that uniform, you are saying you're going to serve and protect us all, which cops in America absolutely don't do. That means her too, Diener said of Jefferson. And the Fort Worth Police Department, those officers that do serve and protect us, that don't have those preconceived notions, that did a thorough investigation in this case, are ashamed that they ever called somebody like him a brother in blue, she added, referring to the former officer. Defense attorney Bob Gill told jurors that Dean feared for his life as he peered through the bedroom window that night. Well, he should not have been peering through a window at all. He should not have left that front door. When he left the front door, did not announce himself, and ran to the back of the house, he made that situation deadly. The state cannot prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that this was not self defense, Gill said. It's tragic, but it's not a self defense under the state of Texas. Holding his hands in the air to show the size of the gun Dean claimed he saw through the window, Gill told the jury, what is immediately more necessary than having a handgun stuck to your face? And you have heard from several people, starting with Aaron, that the handgun was this big when he saw it. I don't believe he saw a handgun, y'all. In a dark room, I don't believe he saw anything in her hand. That's where I think he is telling lies. So that was the defense of Aaron Dean, that it was self-defense. He saw this hand, her hand with the gun in it. And they said, as dark as that room was, the only thing he would have seen is a silhouette of her, perhaps, but he would never have seen that gun. And I don't believe Dean saw the gun until after he shot her. And you have to see the way he shot her. He yelled, "Put your hands up." And as he was saying it, he shot into the window. He didn't even give her a chance to put her hands up. And not announcing yourself as the police when you first showed up on the scene is just too many issues in his testimony. I see why he was found guilty, but we will see what kind of sentence that he get. I mean, I'm glad he's found guilty. Don't get me wrong, but we know how some of these juries are very skimpy on the sentences that a cop receives, especially someone like Aaron Dean that did not follow any kind of police procedures when he showed up at the property of Atatiana Jefferson. He didn't follow nothing. He just pretty much went out there like the Wild Wild West and killed someone that should still be here with us. But y'all, please tell me what you think about the guilty verdict of manslaughter that Aaron Dean received for the death of Tatiana Jefferson. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.